The 10th highest mountain peak of India is Trishul. Trishul is a group of 3 Himalayan mountain peaks of Western Kumaon in the state of Uttarakhand, with the highest, Trishul 1, reaching 7,120 meters. The 3 peaks resemble a trident which is considered the weapon of Shiva. Trishul mountain peaks are near the Nanda Devi sanctuary. The main peak, Trishul 1, was the first peak over 7,000 meters to have ever been climbed in 1907. You can do Ali Bedni Bugyal trek and Brahmtal trek in the state of Uttarakhand to get splendid views of Trishul mountain peaks. The 9th highest peak in India is Chaukhamba. Chaukhamba is a mountain massif in the Gangotri group of the Garhwal Himalayas. Its main summit, Chaukhamba 1, is the highest peak in the group at 7,138 meters. It lies at the head of the Gangotri glacier and forms the eastern anchor of the group. It is located in the state of Uttarakhand. Chaukhamba got its name due to the 4 big peaks along with each other. After unsuccessful attempts in 1938 and 1939, Chaukhamba 1 was first climbed on 13 June 1952 by the Swiss members of a French expedition. You can do treks like Devaryatal Chandrashila, Madmaheshwar temple trek, Kartik Swami temple trek to get amazing views of Chaukhamba peak. The 8th highest peak in India is Hardiol. Hardiol, also called as the Temple of God, is one of the major mountain peaks of the Kumaon Himalaya, located at the northern side of the sanctuary and guarding the Nanda Devi peak. It is located in the Milam Valley of Pithoragarh district in Uttarakhand, and it is 7,151 meters high. The first ascent of Hardiol was made by a team from the Indo-Tibetan Border Police on 31st May 1978. You can get great views of Hardiol peak from the Khalia Top trek, which is in Munsiari. The 7th highest peak in India and the 71st highest mountain in the world is Remo Peak. Remo 1 is the main summit of the Remo Massif with an elevation of 7,385 meters. The Remo is situated at the northern side of the Remo Mustaq in the famous Karakoram ranges. Remo mountain series consists of 4 peaks. Remo 1 is the highest peak among them. To the northeast lies the northeast Remo Mountains and the Karakoram Pass, which is one of the most important trade routes in Central Asia. It is located about 20 kilometers northeast of the snout of Siachen Glacier in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Due to its remote location in the heart of eastern Karakoram, Remo was little known and almost entirely unvisited until the 20th century. The first and by far the only ascent of Remo 1 was made in 1988 by Indian-Japanese team led by Hukam Singh and Yoshio Ogata. The 6th highest mountain peak in India is Mamosrong Kangri. Mamosrong Kangri is surveyed as K35, which is the highest peak in the remote Remo Mustaq, a sub-range of Karakoram range in Ladakh Union Territory of India. It is located about 30 kilometers east-southeast of the snout of the Siachen Glacier. It is also the 48th highest independent peak in the world at a height of 7,516 meters. Mamosrong Kangri has not seen a great deal of visitation due to its remote location and the unsettled political and military situation in the region. The first ascent was made in 1984 by an Indo-Japanese expedition via the northeast ridge after a complicated approach. The 5th highest peak in India is the Sasir Kangri peak. The Sasir Kangri is a group of 5 majestic mountain peaks, and Sasir Kangri 1 is the highest mountain peak among all 5 brothers with an elevation of 7,672 meters, and it is ranked 35th in the world. It is the highest peak in Sasir Mustaq, the easternmost sub-range of the Karakoram range. Sasir Kangri is located within Ladakh, the northernmost Union Territory in India. In 1973, an expedition of members of the Indo-Tibetan Border Police finally succeeded in making the first ascent of the peak. The 4th highest peak in India is Saltoro Kangri. The Saltoro Kangri is the highest peak of Saltoro mountain range, a sub-range of Karakoram. Saltoro mountain is 7,742 meters high and is situated at the center of Great Karakoram and very near to the longest glacier in the world, Siachen. Saltoro Kangri 1 is the 31st highest mountain in the world. The first ascent of Saltoro Kangri was in July 1962 by a joint Japanese-Pakistani expedition led by T. Shirei. The third highest peak in India is Kamet. The Kamet is the highest mountain summit in Janskar mountain range of Garhwal region in the Chamoli district of Uttarakhand. Kamet is also the second highest mountain summit of the Garhwal Himalayan after Nanda Devi. Kamet mountain peak is surrounded by three major neighboring peaks and lies very close to Tibet. Kamet highs around 7,756 meters. It is situated north of the main range and is more remote and therefore less accessible than some Himalayan peaks. Its appearance resembles a giant pyramid toppled by a flat summit area with two peaks. Due to its position near the Tibetan plateau, Kamet is very remote and not as accessible as some other Himalayan peaks. It also receives a great deal of wind from the plateau. You can do treks like Gwari Pass, Pangar Chula and Satopant Lake to get great and grand views of Kamet Peak. The second highest peak in India is Nanda Devi. Nanda Devi is 7,816 meters high, which is located in the Garhwal region of Uttarakhand. Nanda Devi is one of the highest mountains in the world. This is the highest peak which is entirely present in the country because Kanchenjunga lies on the border areas of India and Nepal. It was the highest known mountain in the world until 1808 when Western surveyors discovered Dhaulagiri. Nanda Devi is the 23rd highest peak in the world. The peak, whose name means bliss-giving goddess, is regarded as the patron goddess of the Garhwal and Kumaon Himalayas. In acknowledgement of its religious significance and for the protection of fragile ecosystem, the Government of India declared the peak as well as the Nanda Devi Sanctuary off limits to both locals and climbers in the year 1983. The surrounding Nanda Devi National Park was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1988. Nanda Devi is a two-peak massif forming a 2-kilometer long ridge, east and west. Both the peaks together may be referred to as the peaks of the goddess Nanda and Sunanda. You can do treks like Gwari Pass, Pangar Chula, Devaryatal, Chandrashila to get grand and splendid views of Nanda Devi Peak in Uttarakhand. Kanchenjunga is the highest peak in India and the third highest peak in the world. Kanchenjunga is also one of the most difficult peaks to summit in the world. The total height of Kanchenjunga is 8,586 meters, which is located at the border of India and Nepal in the Great Himalayan region. Approximately only 50% of Kanchenjunga mountain is in India and rest is in Nepal. Kanchenjunga actually means the 5 treasures of snow, as there are 5 peaks in the Kanchenjunga mountain region. Kanchenjunga was first climbed on 25th May 1955 by Joe Brown and George Band, who were part of the 1955 British Kanchenjunga expedition. You can do treks like Goichala in the state of Sikkim and Sandakpur trek in the state of West Bengal to get grand views of Kanchenjunga mountain peak.